Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Discover how to unlock your true potential in today's episode with Amira Nystrom. Now, Amira is the owner of Epic Maui Hikes, Epic Events, Warrior Retreats, and Warrior Coaching, and she can help you unlock your true potential. First question is, what's the secret to your success?
A great question. My secret would probably be my beliefs and my mindset. I think that how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so I try to set myself up in every possible way in my life to be a warrior and to come at things very just as they are. And I'm willing to meet life with whatever resistance is there. And I think that in life and in business, that's been really useful because there's so many moments where things happen that we don't plan on. And so reframing all of those things into a positive, seeing how when business is slow or when someone doesn't want to do a challenge at one of the warrior retreats or something, it's seeing the perfection in it instead of feeling like letting anything kind of discourage me from what I actually want to create. Instead, I see it as perfect. And I see when someone comes to a retreat and they're doing these challenges all the time of ice baths and temazcals and these things that make you uncomfortable. And people start to wonder, could I really do this? And I think when people say, I definitely can't do this, and they hit this wall within themselves that this is too far for me, I see it as a beautiful opportunity. Yes, they're going to have a breakthrough. And so it's just a beautiful opportunity to kind of everything that would naturally discourage an old version of me or maybe someone else, I just reframe it into how is this perfect for us right now? And in business too, when things go slow or when, their business is always ooh, you never really we all feel very comfortable at times. And then things like COVID happen or whatever. And then there's no business for a year. But I think seeing these waves as okay, it's slowing down. What is this inviting me into? What is the opportunity that I'm supposed to find right now? And I just look around my environment with total curious kid-like eyes where I'm just maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And then I just try to take maybe 2 or 3%, look for 2 to 3% progress in the area that I'm struggling in, whether it's whether it's business, relationships, friendships, events, health, whatever. I just put it all down on paper and I'm what does 2% better look like? And that for me takes a lot of pressure off of being perfect and aiming too high to where it discourages me. So I just try to take these little micro baby steps into the reality that I want to be in.
Thank you. What's your blueprint to becoming an awakened titan? And how did that lead onto you unlocking your personal potential?
I think I had a less than 1% chance survival rate on a brain surgery about 11 years ago. And it was completely life-changing. It changed everything on how I view myself, my world, my purpose. And it took away a lot of old stories and scripts of who I'm supposed to be. I think most people are haunted by who they're supposed to be. There's just this pressure of we all have some idea that maybe this is what life is supposed to look like, or maybe we're supposed to be over here, and we look around our environment and let it shrink us into this shell. And I guess the brain surgery gave me this kid-like energy in my adult body where I just looked around at my world and saw, what can I create here and who can I be? And it came from this place of, I naturally didn't have the pressure because that didn't survive the brain surgery. So I feel like I had a gift in just being able to navigate my world in a more playful way and not, and that's helped me in business and in life because while everything's supposed to look a certain way, for most people, I just didn't really have that. I guess I don't really have that. I don't have that pressure inside myself that anything needs to look a certain way. I just go with, is this fun for me? Does this feel good for me? Am I learning something here? Is this interesting? And that's helped me create a job that's very unconventional and a life that's very unconventional.
Thank you. And how did you become a Titan?
Well, what does Titan mean to you?
A business Titan.
I would say I just looked around at my world and saw people who were doing cool things. And, when you're in school, your max capacity is like, okay, it's cool to be a doctor, right? Or it's cool to be a lawyer. They make lots of money. Or it's cool to these things that seem cool when we're in school are just the more popular path, or the more if you go to school for a really long time, that's seen as super high value. And I guess for myself, I just decided, if I can be anyone, who am I really? And my answer to that is a wizard. If I'm really just creating my life however I want it, because I do live on a bit of borrowed time from the brain surgery, I just see it as a gift that I'm still here. And so while I'm here, what do I really want to be doing? And so I've just let my kind of, my soul and excitement guide me into what I want to do. And I have this fierce energy behind it that's which is interesting. When we're bad in school as kids, it's seen as such a bad thing. And if we don't finish school or if we don't go to college, and I really just barely did the school path. And I think that rebellious nature of that I had in school actually became such a benefit for business, because business is always running into resistance. There's constantly other people are doing something similar. Oh, they're doing it. Oh. And it's easy to just back away from whatever is the resistance popping up. And so as an entrepreneur, I've learned that you just have to have this super fierce, rebellious, I'm going to create my dreams and I'm going to do it no matter what. I expect to fail. I expect to make mistakes, and I expect for things to be hard and for me to not know what to do sometimes. And for myself, that's just been, it's been really powerful to have that and to know that it's a good thing. To resist how other people do it is not, it can be a good thing, because it's shown me how to do things my way, I guess.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs unlock their full potential?
I think that people see business as something separate from the rest of their life. They see it as they might live a fairly normal life and then they feel a little stuck and in the business department, and they just don't. And they see it as their one area that they're struggling in, and that they don't know how to unlock. When in reality, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if we're facing ourselves on a deep level, then creativity comes natural and inspiration comes natural. And so there's so many little journal prompts that I recommend doing, of looking at your life and putting everything down on paper and making realistic goals. I was talking about the 2% thing of every department of your life going, where's my health at compared to where I want it to be? And where is my relationship at? how do I feel about myself as a mom, and not spending so much time in how we feel about it in the present, but just kind of like maybe a sentence on each one, like, and like diet and life and fitness and strength, and just putting these departments down and then making a list of what does 2% better look like. So for health, if you're like, okay, how can I be 2% healthier this week than I was last week? And in business, how can I create 2% more business? Or how can I be 2% more present? What's a little bit more I can give to my life? And that to me is magic. That's my practice in business. Is I go through this checklist at least once a month, normally like once a week, where I just look at every department of my life and I'm like, how can I do 2% more? And even podcasts like this is a very interesting 2% for me, because I'm like, wow, am I really going to talk on camera and do podcasts? And I'm like, yeah, if I want to face more of myself, then this is what 2% more looks like. And so for me, I love coaching. I personally do coach. I've had many coaches. I think that the power of influence has a huge impact on our reality. And sometimes we live in lives where we're not naturally inspired. We look around and no one's living the way that we want to live. And if you do have people around you that are doing things that you want to do, then ask them so many questions and learn, and see if you can kind of like download that knowledge in your own brain and let it inspire you. But if you don't have that, then I would look towards coaches, look towards people who are maybe not in your city, look towards podcasts like this, and look towards YouTube or whatever. And just fill your brain with a different type of influence so that you can correct your internal stories, you can correct your own limits, and you can prove yourself wrong in a big way. Because my belief is anyone can do anything. It's just, how committed are you? And what are your beliefs like to match that?
Thank you. Why is it important to choose only to be 2% better as opposed to 50 or 80 or whatever?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think I see this a lot where people say, okay, I've got nothing going on in this department yet, and I want to be a famous podcast, or I want to be an award-winning actor and I've never acted yet, or I want to, and that's beautiful. And to keep that vision, that's amazing. Put it on a vision board, put it on your wall, just, like write it down and keep that visual in your life. And sometimes when we see this perfect vision of what we want and we see where we're at, it creates this like, the bridge isn't very clear. And so it can create a disorienting way of operating where I'm like, oh, I want to be over here, but I'm over here and I'm really sad that I'm over here and this sucks. And so it's just like this struggle where we can't quite connect to this. But it's good to know where we want to be. It's like one of my first exercises is like, let's find out where you actually want to be. And then let's define what 2% looks like and just start to move in a way that you can be proud of yourself, and in a way where you get to, I think that that's the most important part is being proud of yourself along the journey, and knowing that you're slowly creating it, and you're not having this disorienting, like I'm here, I'm there, like kind of when you do some sort of like mushrooms or ayahuasca or something. It's like you're in this adventure and the bridge is missing because you go from one reality to another. But the real power is in taking each of these steps into the reality that you want to be in. And if you really do 2% more in any area of your life for 52 weeks, that is powerful. And that can really create a completely different version of you. And it's not going to come with the highs and lows of excitement and depression. It's going to come with inching your way into becoming the superhuman version of you that you deserve to be, you know, and that you like, we kind of have this like knowing of who we want to be. And then we fall out of it and we're like, no, that's crazy. And it's not actually, it's just your beliefs and your internal system isn't set up to accept that reality yet. And, but that's actually real. When you see your full potential vision of you, that's real. And so, yeah, I just love to make it as easy as possible to help people go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and then see how in a year you're a different person that you thought you were, you thought you could be. And what I find with these 0 to 100% people is they don't actually end up making anything happen. Years go by and they were too discouraged to make the first step because the final step seemed too far. So yeah, that's why I'm really into that process.
Thank you. Which habits or routines or processes or strategies do you recommend for entrepreneurs to unlock their full potential?
I think that we have to look at what's already in us, and see how this is helping or not helping towards the dream that we want to go towards, and then do the work from that point. I think everyone is different, and there isn't a right or wrong way to learn or to grow. But if we look at what's in us and we see, okay, I have this limiting belief, or I have this story that I'm attached to. And sometimes we're like, oh no, I don't feel, like we dramatize the stories and forget that they're giving us something. These stories are all serving us to some extent. So really confronting, what is it giving me and can I get it elsewhere, has been powerful for my adventure. Another thing is building trust within ourselves to be a warrior. Like, this is huge for me, like I've naturally healed myself of Crohn's disease. I've turned brain surgery recovery into like a huge gift. And I've been able to switch everything going on in my body to be a positive. And so for me, I think that confronting ourselves, even in just like going to the gym, going to doing something difficult, look around. If you want to become some massive person, or like if you have some big goals that you don't think you can get to, prove yourself wrong in the little ways. Do something else that completely intimidates you or scares you. Like maybe it's a martial arts class where you're having to be in conflict, or maybe it's a dance class where you have to really connect to someone else in a way that you're not comfortable with, or maybe it's a new skill. And in these little things, if you do something small in your life to gain more trust with yourself that I can do anything, that really helps. And that's something I do too. Just 2 weeks ago, I was thinking to myself, what's 2% more that I can challenge myself? And I thought, I've never learned to surf. And I've lived in Hawaii forever. And I just I overheard the thought in my head, I don't think I could do that. And so I just made it a mission and started practicing. And then I got up on my board and I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, yay, I can do anything. And so just finding these micro ways of proving our warrior spirit to ourselves. And if you could do bigger ones too, like if you can sit through a sweat lodge, or if you can go into an ice bath, or if you can, but just do these things that require some commitment and prove it to yourself that you are stronger than you think. I kind of see it all as like we wrap ourselves in plastic, our entire lives with plastic. And so if we really want to do something different, you have to have a pretty fierce sword, and you have to just go, slashing the story, slashing the limiting beliefs, and just slashing it all down, and doubting it all, doubting what's there, because what we have right now has created the reality we're in right now. But if we want to up level or change something, then there's some plastic to slash. And so we just have to look at what is that plastic? Why is it there? And then let's create something different. And just a thought is not really enough when it's a pretty fierce type of plastic. But if you have some kind of proof, if you've proved it to yourself in a small way of like, oh, I didn't think I'd ever be able to lift this type of weight, or I never thought I'd be able to hold my body weight up on, like, or do a push-up or something. And if you have these micro ways of proving it to yourself that you can do things that you didn't know how to do before, then then the bigger stuff, chasing the bigger stuff just gets easier and easier. It's just training ourselves into being the warrior of our life instead of the victim of our life, and seeing it as everything is an opportunity for me, especially the uncomfortable stuff. Like that stuff really shows us who we are when we're in the middle of our mud and like in the middle of our stress, and we get to show ourselves and prove to ourselves, who am I? And who do I want to be?
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.